Let's go back to Canberra now. Joining us is the former Labor Senator Stephen Conroy for his regular Tuesday appearance. Stephen, good to see you. So, look, the NAB and look, different banks say different things about what they expect rate rises to be at. NAB with a worst case scenario now, 2 more rate rises this year, and that would be trouble for homeowners. And if it was to be true, then the RBA is continuing to pull the only lever that it has at its disposal, which you and I have spoken about many times before.
Many times, I know. I mean, look, it's obviously NAB believe that that's what's needed, but you know, the Australian public are saying enough's enough. You've had a budget that does not add to inflationary pressure. There are plenty of economists who have consistently made the point in the last week that the budget does not add to the inflationary pressures. And if you look at the graphs and the stats and all of that inside the budget, you can see that actually is correct. So if the Reserve Bank pull the trigger again, well, they are just thumbing their nose at the government, they're thumbing their nose at economists, they're thumbing their nose at the Australian public. I mean, this attitude of we know best, we're the ones who can fix this mess, is just, they're causing the mess. You know, the Reserve Bank governor and that board and the people behind the board, all the staff at the RBA, they are causing this problem.
What else could they be doing other than rate rises?
Nothing. Well, this is the point. I mean, first-year economic textbook, we've talked about this before, Pete. First-year economic textbook says interest rates are a blunt instrument. They take 9 or 12 months to feed through the economy. So all of those increases that they've done through the first part of this year and the latter part of last year, they're still feeding their way through. And if you look at consumer demand, if you look at consumer sentiment, if you look at the housing market, you know, they're all factors you've got to take into account, and they've been slowing. But the biggest mistake the Reserve Bank have got consistently is what they believe is going to happen to wages. And they've, for 10 years, predicted wages are going up, 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 and therefore we need to, you know, rein in the economy a bit. The problem is it's never happened. And just because businesses sit there and whinge to them about how it's terrible they're going to pay 5% or 6% when inflation's at 7 and 8%, that's still a real wage fall for workers. So the Reserve Bank are saying, we're going to cut your real wages on top of all the other pressures that people are facing. So the Reserve Bank need to understand that they're one lever, they've already overused it, and they should sit on their hands.
Right, so would it not make, and again, if this happens, would it not make housing more affordable for some?
Well, look, unfortunately, the house prices don't fall as much as is being predicted. And you haven't seen that relief come through yet. You would have thought by now. I mean, there are some areas. Let me not say in absolute terms. There are some areas, some suburbs where prices have declined. But if you look at the market overall, it hasn't declined as much. Now, again, interest rates take a while to work their way through the system. That's first-year economic textbook. And what you're seeing right now is that house prices haven't bottomed out as badly as people predicted, and so it isn't making, you know, homes and home loans more affordable and prices falling. So, you know, those measures all come into the mix together, and some of them come through faster than others.
Hey, just a final one here on trade, and Don Farrell, he hasn't come back from China with an ironclad commitment from China yet. At what point do you turn around and you reignite those cases regarding barley and wine? Do you take that back to the WTO?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, expecting instant success when you're dealing with China is a fraught thing. I think Don's done the right things the first time he's visited. The discussions have begun. I mean, you've got to remember, China are pretending that there is no, you know, free trade issue here, the agreement. They're pretending there's weevils in our wheat and stuff like this. So they're going to have to go through a bit of a face-saving period to suddenly discover there are no weevils in our wheat. There's nothing wrong with our salmon and our crab, et cetera, et cetera. So they need a little bit of space. So a little bit of patience here will pay off for our farmers and our other commodity producers that will be major beneficiaries of this. But no one should forget, Australia's conceded nothing. Nothing to get this outcome. A little bit more patience, and I think we'll get the best outcome for all our primary producers.
Okay, Stephen Conroy, good to see you.